What will the iPhone 14 be? A complete redesign? A nostalgic throwback? A massive camera upgrade? Possibly even the destroyer of Android? Well, despite the fact that Apple has not said a single word about this phone, a lot of people, both reputable and unreliable, have tried their best to answer these questions. In the beginning, these people painted a picture of an iPhone like no other, with Apple fans hailing this as the phone that would restore their faith in the company and truly be the perfect iPhone. But unfortunately, this perfect iPhone wouldn't be the iPhone 14, and eventually, reality caught up to everyone.
Every night, I dream the same dream.
An exciting time to be an Apple fan.
And then,
He leaked the iPhone 14.
Never been a more exciting time to get.
Do leaks ruin launch events?
the nightmare begins.
To catch you up to speed with everything, we have to start at the beginning. When very reliable Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo put out his first report on the 2022 iPhone 14. According to him, the iPhone 14 would be the first iPhone to finally abandon the notch in favor of a hole punch display. Kuo didn't say what would happen to the Face ID components, but apparently the front camera would gain autofocus abilities, so mark that down somewhere. A month later, Kuo gave us a better idea of what the four phones in the iPhone 14 lineup would look like. Keeping relatively in line with the iPhone 13 family from the previous year, the entry-level and likely most popular model would be the 6.1-inch iPhone 14, with a brand new addition to the line, a larger 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Max, stepping up alongside it, and unfortunately killing the mini line in the process, most likely due to its sluggish sales. The last two models in the lineup would be the Pro phones of the year, the 6.1-inch iPhone 14 Pro and 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Pro Max. Kuo also added that these high-end Pros would gain an upgraded camera system with a bigger 48-megapixel image sensor on the main wide-angle camera, allowing for 8K video recording that would, quote, elevate mobile phone camera photography to a new level.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
A couple months later, in another report, Kuo mostly repeated a lot of stuff he'd previously said, but did add that the lower-end 14 Max would likely cost around $900, giving us a decent idea of what the pricing structure would look like for these new iPhones. The 7th of July marked a very crucial date in our story, as a completely unknown leaker called Shrimp Apple Pro posted this image to Twitter. Okay, so maybe nobody noticed it at the time. But on a serious note, our next leak really kicked things into high gear.
So what brings you here today, Mr. Prosser?
Yes. I would like to leak the iPhone 14, Your Honor.
Okay, let me see it.
John Prosser, a new but quite reliable Apple leaker, posted a very special video containing a very special product.
Because this is iPhone 14. Wow, that is crazy to say.
He then went into exclusive details about the iPhone 14, stating that it would feature a fresh new design created from the modernization of the iPhone 4. This new design would consist of a flat, camera bumpless back, titanium sides, circular volume buttons, new speaker grills, and a triple layered design. Plus, the notch that was currently present on all of Apple's current iPhones was going to be replaced with a hole punch for the selfie camera and Face ID sensors that were under the display. Now, he could only guarantee that this redesign would come to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but did add that the mini iPhone would likely be replaced with a larger Max phone, backing up Kuo's sizing report from earlier in the year. And all because of this, he got the iPhone 14 trending on Twitter 6 days before the iPhone 13 was announced. Yeah.
I have seen all over that people are kind of disappointed with the lack of cool stuff coming to iPhone 13. And people are curious, wondering if they should just wait for next year for the iPhone 14. Well, I don't know. Should you?
I did what I had to do to protect our world.
You opened the doorway between universes, and we don't know who or what will walk through it. Things just got out of hand.
On the 27th of September, Mark Gurman, another very reliable Apple leaker, added to the iPhone 14 hype by slyly backing up John Prosser's claims, writing that with the iPhone 14, you can expect new entry-level and Pro models and a complete redesign. With both this and John's report, people were really starting to think that this would actually happen. I mean, two of the biggest names in the iPhone leak game were both agreeing that a redesign would happen, and these leaks sounded realistic, with no unachievable technology being used and the retro design really aligning with Apple's recent trend of revitalizing their old designs. Again, it seemed legit, and people were excited.
The iPhone 14 first.
Never been a more exciting time to
The iPhone 13 isn't even out yet.
It's one of my favorite things. It's so good. It's so good.
December saw Christmas come and go, with January 1st, 2022 marking the actual year that this phone was gonna come out, with everyone still being very excited. Unfortunately, this hope would all be put into question when this Shrimp Apple Pro post finally was brung into the spotlight. When leaker Dylan DKT posted about it on Twitter, backing it up and claiming that instead of a selfie camera punch hole on the front of the iPhone 14 Pros, it was going to be pill-shaped instead. Some Face ID sensors were being placed under the display. However, one or two sensors still needed to be above the display, hence why the pill-shaped cutout needed to happen. Thankfully though, leakers reassured us that it would just be a pill-shaped cutout, and that the smaller hole on the left side would not be visible from the other side.
It's a completely silly idea.
Oh, is it?
Turns out the smaller hole punch would very much not be invisible. An extremely reliable display leaker, Ross Young, said that he believed that the cutout on top of the iPhone 14 Pros would instead be a hole plus pill design. The worst part is that if the dimensions are correct, the hole plus pill punch... Try saying that 10 times fast. The hole plus pill punch would cut into your content more. And to think that Shrimp Apple Pro had it right all the way back in July last year. I tip my glasses to you, crustacean connoisseur. Unfortunately, a day later, another curveball was thrown at us, with Ming-Chi Kuo saying that the regular iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Max would use the same A15 processor as the iPhone 13, while the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max would be upgraded to the brand new A16 processor.
I'll take a chip and eat it.
This made the regular iPhone 14 look kinda meh. And I mean, at this point, apart from the complete redesign rumored to be coming, it seemed like this would just be the same phone as the iPhone 13. Fortunately, a day later, the website 9to5Mac made this whole chip situation a little better for the iPhone 14. Backtracking slightly for some context, in 2022 for the iPhone 13s, Apple actually used two different SKUs of the A15 chip to power them, with the low-end SKU going in the iPhone 13 and 13 mini, while the high-end went in the iPhone 13 Pros. Moving forward a year, it now seemed like Apple would take that high-end SKU from the iPhone 13 Pros and put it in the iPhone 14 and 14 Max, possibly rebranding it as something like the A15X or something like that. This thankfully means that these iPhone 14s would actually be faster than last year's 13, although admittedly not as fast as the 14 Pros, which again would be getting the brand new super fast A16 chip. Whether this reusing of an old iPhone chip is from supply chains being constrained or it just not being practical to design a brand new chip, the main thing is you honestly probably won't notice the difference. But it doesn't make the iPhone 14 look more appealing. With all of that confusion out of the way, 9to5Mac continued talking about a few other little tidbits coming to the iPhone 14. Backing up previous reports, they stated that there would definitely be no more mini model, with only 6.1 inch and 6.7 inch displays this year, but the Pro displays may be getting slightly taller in order to accommodate the new iPunch design. And lastly, they talked about the possibility of a satellite communication feature coming to the iPhone 14s. Originally rumored to be on the iPhone 13s, this feature would allow text messages to be sent over satellite, likely for use in emergency situations when you have no cellular reception. Again, this feature was only a possibility, but it was apparently being tested with several prototypes inside of Apple. And honestly, after all the leaks of iPunches and chips being reused, it was really nice to get some positive news about the iPhone 14.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
Good morning. Now, let's talk about iPhone.
On the 16th of March, however, all of that got turned around, when in a very odd turn of events, the website 91 Mobiles claimed that the iPhone 14 Pro would not get the major redesign previously rumored by John Prosser and Mark Gurman, instead looking very, very similar to the iPhone 13 Pros. This was followed with the website MySmartPrice claiming that the regular iPhone 14s would also look pretty much identical to the iPhone 13s from the previous year, with Twitter leaker Max Weinbach posting images of the schematics of the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, which again showed very similar designs to last year's models of phones. Ming-Chi Kuo also slyly agreed that this is what the design would look like, as he stated that the upgraded 48 megapixel image sensor was the reason why the rear camera bump would be even larger than previous years. And finally, John Prosser followed up on his initial iPhone 14 report back in September, reluctantly admitting that the iPhone 14 design that he had leaked was not true.
As much as I hate to admit that we may have been wrong, it is looking more and more likely that that complete redesign is and instead the recent leaks of the design were much more likely to be what the iPhone 14 would look like.
The iPhone 14 is gonna be kind of insane. It is going to be out of this world good.
That one didn't age quite so well.
Also, Prosser did mention that the redesign might instead be happening for the iPhone 15 in 2032. 2032. Holy cow. For the iPhone 15 in 2023. So, I guess we all know what big features the iPhone 15 will have in store.
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
Now, plenty of other leaks came out after this, and paired with some very, very good renders of the phones themselves, we've got a really good idea about what the iPhone 14 will actually be. But honestly, these are really just footnotes in the overall story of the iPhone 14 leaks. Because this constant flip-flop of information, turning a product from amazing to incredible, then crashing back down to reality before it was even announced by Apple, is something that is never really happened to such an extent for a recent iPhone. This probably is the most spotlight grabbing and all-encompassing story to come out for an iPhone that hasn't even launched yet. I mean, even Marquez made a video talking about the leaks. Twice. Something that I've never seen him do in any recent years. So, is this bad? That we know exactly what phones are gonna be like now, even so far out from release? I mean, we already have a pretty decent idea of what next year's iPhone 15 will look like. We know what the Samsung foldables of the year will feature, and Google even revealed the Pixel 7 lineup about 5 months before it's due to be revealed. Have these leakers that are constantly in a game of one-upsmanship to push information about these unreleased products out accidentally put out product information so far in advance that it kills all hype and excitement by the time these products arrive? Well, as with most things in life, I think the answer isn't quite that simple. Yes, it is annoying that we know all this. It does ruin a bit of the surprise, and it does make things seem just a touch more saddening. But I would also argue that in a world where smartphone upgrades are becoming smaller and smaller every year, content surrounding smartphones is inherently gonna become less interesting. I mean, just look at the Nothing Phone 1. In a vacuum and ignoring its admittedly pretty cool design, it's not a very interesting product, with its core feature set being very similar to every other phone on the market. And I'm sure that, just off the cuff, if everybody reviewed it, they would have very little to actually say about it. And yet, the narrative story that Nothing has constructed around this phone has led to it becoming the tech crowd's most anticipated phone of the year, with over 160,000 dedicated fans signing up for a chance to pre-order the Phone 1 within 2 days of the site going live. The stories constructed around these devices are the narratives they so desperately need in order to please us content-hungry viewers. Sure, the reviews of these products are still important and still get tons of views, but to us, these only end up serving as the conclusion to the product narrative. What went wrong with the iPhone 14 leaks? Information and expectation-wise, a lot, but entertainment-wise, this truly was the culmination of what YouTube videos are all about. Constantly and consistently providing viewers with enjoyable content and a story to tell about things they care about. The community and leakers learnt a lot from this 14 fiasco. Overhyping products before launch, trusting in leaks a little too much, and not quite eating enough humble pie. But at the end of the day, if tech leak content stays enjoyable while tech YouTubers keep things entertaining, then I think we'll all click on that next iPhone leaks and rumors video when it pops up in our feed, even if we might be a little bit more cautious from now on.
It has smooth, flat edges, allowing you break the rules. Look out! To become a hero. I do it, I become the enemy. It doesn't seem fair.
We look forward to seeing what our users will do with all of these incredible products.
As always, thank you for coming to my Nerd Talk. I really hope y'all do learn from this, by the way, because humans have a tendency of not learning their lessons. I mean, people are already placing all of their hopes and dreams onto the iPhone 15, so maybe don't do that. Also, honestly, I do think the iPhone 14 is going to be a pretty big upgrade. Maybe not the regular 14, but definitely on the Pros. Even if I wish they just stayed with a 12 megapixel sensor. As always, if you like what I do, leaving without a subscribe would just be rude. The Nothing Phone 1 is quite interesting. And of course, stay strong.